everyone, I'm Brigitte, DSHP President, and I'm here with...
Hi, Elaine Law, CSHP President.
And we are Ledge Day in Sacramento, California.
Hi, it's Lorianne DiMartini, CEO of CSHP here at Ledge Day. Wish you all were here.
Hello, Keith Yoshizuka, CSHP Past President. I'm glad that we're here for CSHP Legislative Day.
I'm Jonathan Watanabe, the Department Chair of Clinical Pharmacy at UC San Francisco School of Pharmacy, and enthusiastic, thrilled to be part of all the amazing events that are happening for CSHP Ledge Day over the years, today, and never been more important. So thank you for those that are here and for anybody else that's coming.
Thank
Look forward to seeing you.
Here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Duke Bach. I represent San Gabriel Valley chapter of CSHP here in the capital of Sacramento. Great to be here, and we're going to have a great day.
Hi everybody, I'm Devin Hollander. I am here at CSHP's Legislative Day, and it's very exciting, a lot of energy in the room. I'm here representing the technicians as the Pharmacy Technician Director with CSHP.
Woohoo!
I'd like to see you all come and join. This
Yes.
is exciting. We got to move what we do.
Yes, yes.
Hey everybody, it's Gary Hussein. We're at CSHP's Policy and Ledge Day today, and it's quite a great assembly of constituents.
Yes.
Lots of Toro students
Yes.
representing. We're all having lectures being delivered. Quite
Yes.
stimulating. Glad
Thank
to
you for
be
being here.
Hi, I'm Christiana. I'm the CSHP Administrative Assistant, and welcome to 2025 Pharmacy Policy and Legislative Day. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
It's great to hang out with friends again. I've been elected for 9 years. I'll just give you a brief background of who I am, where I come from, and why I care about this as much as I do. It was a pharmacist that brought this to my grandma's attention, to my mother's attention, and her health improved overnight because we got her off of everything that was contradicting itself. And I think people forget this. People forget your ability, your knowledge, your expertise. It's all of you that have the expertise to pick that out. So it's one of the reasons that we offer 1366. I'm proud to do it, and I can't wait to move that thing forward, is because that's how I view this. You folks are an integral part of our healthcare system, and we desperately need all of you. How many of your students are here? There's also students back here? I love it. Oh, by the way, that's freaking amazing, for the record. I'm gonna just briefly talk about government relations, okay? I'm gonna thank you for representing, quite frankly, my community in a way that's just different than MDs, in a way that's just different than going to the doctor's office, but really taking the time to look at labels, taking the time, as you did, to help my grandma out, to make sure that her medications were proper and that were in her best interest. So thank you for that very, very much.
From Southern California, I kind of lost touch a little bit. So what other big issues are on your mind?
It's honestly, it's healthcare access.
First of all, thank you so much for telling us about your story about your grandmother. That's very, I feel proud of our profession for being able to help people like your grandmother. That's awesome.
A lot of people do know about community pharmacies, but there's also ambulatory care pharmacies. Have you ever heard of an ambulatory care pharmacist?
I have.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm an ambulatory care pharmacist. I work in FQHC, and currently there's no reimbursement for the work that we do, and that's because the CMS doesn't consider us healthcare providers. Is there anything that you're doing to help with that issue?
Well, 1366 is what we're trying to fix. Yeah. Yes, that is the plan. Because you're absolutely right when it comes to, brick and mortar buildings what they are, right? But when you folks are out there, they do not recognize that. And that is exactly what 1366 is aiming to do, is making sure that we get some sort of reimbursement for it. Yeah.
How do you prioritize the bills so that you're focusing on the things that are really important to your constituents versus things that maybe are less so?
I know my constituents care about. It's affordability issues, it's public safety, it's healthcare access. Those are the things I really stay focused on.
Yeah, I'm Jonathan Watanabe, faculty at UCSF, and longtime clinical pharmacist and involved in many things that kind of circle on some of the things you touched, particularly trying to provide access to folks in underserved areas and populations that just have a tough time actually getting access to a clinic, and even if they can find it, making sure they get payment, policy, all these kind of components sort of enter into it. One thing that's a part of that bill that you're, and this is just sort of to reinforce what you're talking about, is that oftentimes what we hear is people come to us. In fact, even even folks that are involved in national policy to try to get more access to clinical pharmacists as being the only ones that can provide some of these services that we're talking about, is that they're saying is, well, even if you're part of the effort, it's actually really tricky to figure out how to get patients that are interested connected to that pharmacist. So it really is just to say that this effort it's not only just that it's needed, it's crucial and basically unique, because many of the people that are sitting here, I include myself in one of them, we're the only ones really trained to do sort of what you're describing. And so finding ways that we can really bring it to the public in a meaningful way, it's almost sort of just a shame that more don't have access to that. So just to say that effort is going to, how it will cascade for a patient population is immeasurable, and it needs to already be done. So a lot of appreciation for your effort.
There's a lot of opportunity to really bring access to our communities and serve them differently than we have in the past. And I think it's a part of that.
AB 1366 and really championing this for the profession. My question is, so in reading through it, I mean, a lot of it makes perfect sense to us. Like, we understand that this is extremely important and something that should have been done a long time ago. But if you could maybe explain to us what the counter argument is, what's stopping them from being able to help us move forward with.
I think it's education. There's a few things that health committee that we just need to educate them on. It's not insurmountable, to be quite honest. I think there's absolutely a pathway. But having you come up here and spend time with all of us and educate each other, educate us, is invaluable to guys like me. And I'm so proud to author 1366 for it. We will do everything we can to push that across the line. And to all the students, honestly, you have no idea how important it is for GR. So as you move forward in your careers, make sure GR is a line item in your budget, because we desperately need all of you to stay connected with all of us. So thank you again. Appreciate your time.
Can you scroll back a little bit and bring up the Board of Pharmacy logo, the one that covers like the full screen? There you go, right there. Okay, so 2/3 of the attendees here are students, and you may not know, this comment is about consultation. So when you look at the logo, you see a water and pestle. Hopefully, if you look at it again, you see two people talking to each other. You see that? Okay.
Right?
But the pharmacist is ultimately responsible for determining if the patient may waive consultation. A lot of times the patient may waive consultation, not really realizing what they're giving up. So if you have a patient that is naive to anticoagulants, and they're taking anticoagulants for the first time, would you allow them to waive consultation?
No.
Knowing that it may cost them their life? I just wanted to point that out. Is that important? Thank you.
Day and age of technology and COVID and things like that. One case in point is renewing your license online and via credit card and things like whether it's a personal license or now some of the hospital licensures have been able to renew on that. So I thank you for that. I was wondering if there's an opportunity to extend some of that convenience to some of the other licenses.
There's more and more pharmacists that are gonna actually spend most of their career not in a pharmacy, right? And so, and delivering care that really helps patients, helps the consumer, helps the public health. So is that leaking into the dialogue that with the Board of Pharmacy more and more, that more of these things, may, after they graduate, they maybe will never actually be in a pharmacy, because all the work that they do for patient lands up in clinic or in other settings. So do you see that occurring in the Board of Pharmacy dialogue, that more and more the dialogue is not in these kind of traditional settings?
Yes, and really, like, when we think about standard of care and that transition to that kind of a practice model really does support the transition in pharmacist practice across the board. Do you know what I'm saying? One of the, like, as a tiny little side, one of the other issues that the board is raising in its sunset is specific to pharmacy technicians. You know, why are you telling me how is this related? Let me tell you how it's related to your question. So right now, by definition, a pharmacy technician only exists within the four walls of the pharmacy. And so one of the things that we are hoping to partner with the legislature and the administration with is to allow for pharmacy technicians to work outside of the four walls of the pharmacy, so that they are still there to assist pharmacists, like to assist you in your practice. It would still be under the direct supervision, your direct supervision and control, but even pharmacy technicians could be practicing then outside of the four walls.
Thanking him for voting for AB 317 last year. So that does two things. One, it lets them know I'm watching how you're voting. And when you say that, you watch their eyes kind of widen a little bit. Secondly, it puts it into perspective that paying pharmacists for clinical services is not something new. The legislature passed it last year. What they missed is that one of the conditions is that it had to take place within the four walls of the pharmacy. What this bill does, it expands it so that it can also take place in a medical office, in a clinic, someplace outside of the pharmacy. So it's not anything new, and quite frankly, even though the majority of it hasn't been implemented yet, in most other places where it has been implemented, it actually results in a cost savings, because typically the pharmacist reimbursement is at 80% of the usual physician rate. So I want to point that out in case people think that this is a brand new concept. It's not. The legislature passed it last year.
Where do you think that the pharmacist has the most time to sit privately and talk to a patient? It's in those medical offices, those clinics. A lot of them are free clinics, federally health qualified clinics. Kaiser Permanente itself, I know in Southern California alone, has over 100 pharmacists that just deal with mental health care, which is a big problem in California. So don't be shy about telling them what's already out there and what this means. And you may not realize it, but those are AmCare pharmacists that are all over the state and have been for 3 decades. Thank you.
You also helped during the pandemic with opening your offices to be able to educate people about the pandemic. You opened your offices for vaccinations, for a myriad of things that was critical. And we must create the environment to ensure that local pharmacists are able to thrive. So certainly you are a vital, and over time, we don't give you enough props for what you do. And to tell you the truth, I think we've taken you for granted for far too long.